What's up, everyone? Basil the White Dragon Masters here, and today I have a review for fight nights. Obviously, today's Saturday. Wearing my UFC jersey. Okay, I have a review for UFC 197, Jon Jones versus Ovince St. Preux. Okay, we just got done with the fights. I actually will again talk about the last three fights. Which was Anthony Pettis versus Edson Barbosa, Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson versus Henry Cejudo, and then the final main event, which is why I spent $60 fucking for this stupid thing. Jon Jones versus Ovince St. Preux, or OSP. All right, so let's get right into it. Anthony Pettis versus Edson Barbosa. Absolutely, probably the most exciting fight out of everything, because you've got a take-it-e or Taekwondo guy, mainly with a Taekwondo base. Obviously, they're all mixed martial artists, but they all have their own, strengths. This Anthony Pettis, very famous for his flashy kicks and techniques and all that stuff. So, Taekwondo background guy versus Edson Barbosa, Brazilian Muay Thai king, right? So I knew this wasn't going to go to the ground. This was going to be a pretty good kickboxing, rugged, toe-to-toe type of fight, which it was. It was decent. I have not much to say about this fight, honestly, because Edson Barbosa beat the shit out of Anthony Pettis for 3 rounds. He didn't practically finish him, but if you count every single round, round 1, round 2, round 3, all rounds, he picked him apart. He kicked him. I think the welt that Anthony Pettis had on his rib and the inside kicks, which are these techniques, very famous in Muay Thai, guys. And they do these in karate as well, and they do these in kung fu as well. But very famous in Muay Thai, which is the inside step low kick. So in Muay Thai, it's like a 1-2 inside step. You use the shin on the inside. You do a few of those. Yeah, you do a few of those. Bam! You hear the sound. You take a few of those shots. I think within 2 kicks, if they're connected right, you are actually limping, because it takes away the punching force. Because when you land, every time you throw a punch, you put your weight on your front leg. When your leg is kicked, you can't put that weight and punch because it hurts. So pretty much, Edson Barbosa won the fight. All 3 rounds, decision, but really beat him up bad. So Anthony Pettis has lost literally back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. He lost before this fight, and then he lost before that as well. So I don't know what the UFC is going to do with him. He's definitely a draw. He's definitely a flashy fighter. So he's a former champion, so they're not going to cut him. I don't think they're going to cut him loose yet. He's probably going to go down to prelim fights, if I'm not mistaken. Probably. But I don't think they're going to cut him. So yeah, that's the first fight. The co-main event. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and Henry Cejudo. Honestly, guys, again, I follow this sport very deeply. I follow everything that's related to martial arts. Again, it's my passion. It's my life. That's what I do. I not only practice. I'm not only a fighter. I'm also a teacher. I teach MMA as well, along with traditional arts as well. But see, I had never heard of Henry Cejudo. Really, I think unfortunately, guys, when you start going down in weight class, this is just an opinion thing. This is just like a preference thing. But I guess your interest. I guess what I'm saying is, you don't really care much about the lighter weight guys. I'm talking about me. I don't know about you guys. There might be people, and I don't mean to offend any small guys here, but the reality of the matter is, the smaller the weight class, the not give a shit type of behavior I have. But that's me. I'm more interested in fights mostly from 145 at least, which are still small guys, but 145 and up, which is the Jose Aldo, the Conor McGregors, the 155s. 160, I'm still, these are okay. My main fun is when it starts at the big boys, the 170, the 180, 205ers, because I happen to be in that category, 205. So, what can I say? Demetrius Johnson versus Henry Cejudo. I hadn't heard of Henry Cejudo before until this day, really, until this fight came up. I found out that he was an Olympic gold medalist, so I automatically gave him respect, because being an Olympian is obviously no joke. It's a lot of training, but again, let's get real. Being an Olympian at what sport? At wrestling? Okay, well, no big deal. In MMA, you have so much to worry about, so it was nothing as far as, oh my god, we have an Olympian wrestler going. Okay, well, how good is he at kickboxing? How good is he at, jiu-jitsu? All these things these all count. So, this fight was over in, I believe, 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the very first round. Demetrius kicked his ass. Surprisingly, the way he beat him was with the clinch knees in Thai boxing, in Muay Thai. Now, if you do these clinch knees, you have somebody. What was weird about this is that once you're in a clinch, a wrestler should feel a lot more comfortable. Because what they should do, in my opinion, as a martial artist, is that they should, if they're getting those knees inside right here, they should scoop it and take the guy down. That would have been Cejudo's chance to win or take him down, then bring him more into his realm. But surprisingly, he took one or two of those kicks. I'm sorry, his knees of Demetrius Johnson, and he couldn't take it. He buckled and he went down. You cannot take a good knee, let me tell you guys that. But I would have definitely, instead of cowering up like he did in the fight, I would have scooped it, waited for the knee to come in, took it in, scooped under the leg, and taken him down somehow. That's what I would have done if I was his corner. What can I say about Demetrius Johnson? Great fighter. Probably one of the best fighters ever. Because, his domination since he's been crowned the flyweight champion is he makes people look like little bitches. Everyone. I think the only person who gave him a good fight was Ian McCall. That from what I remember. But that was it. So he's a great fighter. He won one round, clinch knees, great Muay Thai technique, incredibly athletic guy. I don't know who they're going to throw against him now. So, yes, that was the co-main event. Demetrius Johnson, fantastic, KO'd, well, not KO'd, but TKO'd with clinch knees to Cejudo. Let's go to the main event. Again, main event. As you all know, I'm not a fan of Jon Jones. Again, he's a great fighter. He's definitely creative. He uses unorthodox techniques that are in many traditional arts, such as the kick. And what kick is that? The kick we have specifically in Kung Fu. It's known as the tiger kick in Kung Fu. The tiger kick, right? And it depends how you throw it. You can throw it from really high up, low, to break the guy's knee. And this kick was incorporated by Bruce Lee in JKD. So a lot of Bruce Lee's technique, Master Lee's technique, are he's actually an orthodox fighter, but in JKD most techniques are from the lead leg. So if I'm an orthodox fighter, if I'm a righty, I'll keep my right leg forward because my techniques are more from here. So the power side is up. The power side, right? So he uses those techniques that are in JKD. Anderson Silva started doing those a lot. Those are dangerous techniques. They really are. I'm surprised that they're allowed in the UFC because they do hyperextend. You damage people's knees bad because of the hyperextension, and I'll get into that in a minute. So he fought Owen St. Preux. For those who don't know, I'm sure you all know, he was supposed to fight Daniel Cormier. Cormier blew his knee. He got injured. They had nobody else to throw him against. Anthony Johnson had mouth surgery, so they couldn't have him. So they throw in Owen St. Preux was the only guy who said, hey, I'll step up the plate and I'll do it. A lot of respect for him. I have, just based on that itself, for saving the event, I have tremendous respect for Owen St. Preux, no doubt. And he's fighting a guy like Jon Jones, a much stronger Jon Jones, because obviously he's been doing a lot of powerlifting. So my respect to Owen St. Preux, I didn't expect much. But in this game of MMA, in this fighting game, you cannot count anyone out. You saw what happened to Conor against Nate Diaz. We all thought that Conor was gonna walk through him, obviously, and he always was doing a great job until he got, he submitted, or he got beat. So you can't count anybody out. So I definitely thought that Owen St. Preux had a puncher's chance to knock out Jon Jones. I was banking on it. I hoped. I'm not a fan of Jon Jones for lots of reasons, and I'm sure you guys all know what those are. He's a great fighter, but just he's a shitty guy with all the stuff that's been going on behind the curtains, right? So I don't have any respect for him whatsoever. Well, whatever. He came back. You know, he did his shit. He came back. He fought Ovince St. Preux. 3 weeks' notice is all he had, Ovince St. Preux. And this fight was a 5-round fight, grueling fight. I have to say that obviously Jon Jones is coming from a 1.5 year off layoff, so I kind of knew that it wasn't going to translate too well. Ovince St. Preux was more like a warm-up, well, not kind of like a warm-up fight for him to get back into the mix and fight DC again. But in my mind, I was banking for Ovince to knock him out, considering the amount of time he had. I thought he would be more urgent. Now let's get into the fight. This fight, from beginning to end, was exactly the same. Meaning, Jones was the one who was scoring on Ovince. And how he was leading was with his kicks. Jones has this one technique that he uses almost in every fight. He used it against Rampage, he used it against Lyoto Machida, I think, and he used it against Cormier as well. And he used it against Ovince St. Preux. So he does this low kick, okay? This low kick when he's in the fighting stance, he'll do this, yeah? Somebody comes in and he will time it. He will time it so when the guy comes in, he'll throw it right over here, right above the kneecap, okay, where the extension comes. So this gives you a hyperextension, which buckles your knee backwards, and it hurts like a son of a... I mean, it's a very lethal technique. They don't allow those in traditional karate tournaments for that reason. And he uses that technique a lot. And he literally will use that technique throughout the entire fight, from round 1 to round 5. And he attacked St. Preux. That's how he wins. He weakens people up with the legs, and then he attacks. And then he threw a couple of body kicks. It was a game of a lot of teeing off of each other. He got in a few takedowns, which majorly scored into his favor. Let me go to Ovince St. Preux for a second here. Ovince St. Preux, considering the type of opportunity he was given, I didn't see any urgency in this guy. I mean, he was overly relaxed, overly calm. In a fight against Jon Jones, you can't be too calm. And because he was just, it almost felt like he was stoned. Like he was high, like he was just like, I didn't, see that. He just had this overly strange, relaxed attitude, which just didn't really match when you're fighting against someone like Jones. You would want to see some urgency. Again, with these hard punchers like him, Anthony Johnson, these guys have tools where you can knock somebody out like Jones out. If you hit him hard enough, if you time it properly, if you show a little urgency. Throughout, I think, the round 1 and 2 and 3, Ovince St. Preux was practically just, he'll throw a punch, he would chase him, but then Jones would keep kicking him back. He would get kicked in the belly, but it was a boring fight. It was a very boring fight. You don't expect a boring fight from the big boys, from the 170s, from the 180s, from the 205ers, from the heavyweights. You don't expect a boring fight, but this was really fucking boring. I feel like I blew my money, honestly, but whatever. And then in round 4, he was picking up the pace a little bit, but Jones, he took him down, which again scored. I just wish Ovince St. Preux. He said he thought he did better. I think he said that he did his best. I feel he could have done a much better job had he been a little bit more aggressive with his hits. Using more hip into his techniques, especially with that long reach that he has. If he used a little bit more of his power, at least in the latter rounds, which was round 4 and round 5, there was a puncher's chance for this guy. I'm not going to blame him too much for this, because at the end of the day, he did only come on 3 weeks' notice, and I do have a lot of respect for him for that. But when you have this kind of opportunity, you should be a lot more aggressive, at least in the last 2 rounds of your fight. Like, really hard. But he got hurt, practically. His left hand I think he blocked a kick or something. Again, just urgency was what he needed to do. Jon Jones did what he does. He scored. He uses his leg, the side kick, and he won this fight. Now, I would love to see what happens between him and DC. And I wonder how DC, meaning Daniel Cormier, how he changes his strategy and how he tries to win this, because we all know that he doesn't have the real belt either. I mean, that belt was practically given to him because of Jones' bullshit outside the octagon, right? Let's get real. Even Daniel Cormier knows that he doesn't really have the real belt because he hasn't beaten John Jones. It was handed to him, in a way. What I really want to see, honestly, guys, I didn't really want to see I really care less about Daniel Cormier fighting John Jones. What I really wanted to see was Anthony Johnson knocking John Jones out. That's what I want to see, is Anthony Johnson take on John Jones. That's really a fight that I want to see, personally. But for whatever reason, it hasn't happened. When John Jones beats Daniel Cormier, again, I shouldn't say that, but when he does it, then hopefully we will see an Anthony Johnson fight if Anthony wins his fight. So that's it, guys. It was pretty cut and dry. Not much to say about these fights. It was a disappointing fight. The main event sucked. It was boring. I wish OSP was a little bit more urgent, used a little bit more power in his fights. What did he have to lose? What did he have to lose? I keep asking myself, what did OSP have to lose after the third round? He could have just gone wild for all I care in round 4 and round 5. At least hard hits per round. Few hard hits. But anyway, whatever. Anyways, guys, please, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. I would love to have you guys as my White Dragon subscribers and the White Dragon fans. And you know, I'm teaching, so if you guys are anybody in the Torrance, California area, please hit me up. We're teaching, I teach kids karate there. I'm the chief instructor there. And if any of you wanted to train MMA, I teach in Los Angeles in a really cool MMA gym. You guys can always hit me up down on the comment section, and I can give you the information, all right? Thank you so much, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Basil the White Dragon Masters, out.